All right, hello, Race Brain Podcast. Join Bracken Crocker, Jack Bauer. Today we have a mishmash of things to really talk about. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. We got Battle Bunker that happened. We had Hyrox New York that happened. Battle Bunker East Coast Regional, I should say. Hyrox New York, Spartan Colorado Springs, and Spartan European Championships, and how does OCR
European OCR champs.
European OCR champs
Simultaneously.
All right, BK.
A Cincinnati Spartan Race.
Yeah.
That happened?
Indiana.
Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
In Indiana.
Did that happen? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So is that where we want to start? Bracken, where do you want to start today, dude? You tell me.
Oh, I haven't opened with an apology for a while, so I'm just going to tell the collective OCR audience that I did not watch Battle Bunker. I don't know anything that happened. I was all the way in on a Hyrox. I didn't do it. I don't know.
Jack, did you watch it at all? You said
I watched a decent amount, probably an hour total of highlights from the live coverage in Battle Bunker. I'm not going to sit through and watch the entire thing. But I'm on the opposite end. I did not watch Hyrox because it's just after World Champs and I didn't feel like anything good was going to happen. And clearly it was a pretty eventful weekend.
Fairly eventful. All right, let's do Battle Bunker. To catch everybody up, it's an event that is put on by the company Battle Bunker, and they've basically hired Hunter McIntyre to kind of be their head of sport, the head programmer. He's more just like the figurehead there. And Hunter has done a couple events in the past, like OCR Stars, to kind of get people into this. So it's kind of in that vein where it's like functional fitness, but tilted toward endurance, more like toward endurance. And then
You say strongman?
No, strength. Like, look at the events in this one.
Well,
so
now
now
functional fitness
as a viewer,
tilted towards strength is CrossFit.
As a viewer, I'm very confused.
Yeah, now
It's functional fitness tilted towards either endurance or
both.
strength.
It is both. I suppose it is both.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. How would you, and I guess that's the thing. Like, so there was an online qualifier, and then it was broken in two regions. So this is the first time they've had like this like regional style event. So I find it kind of interesting. Also. In-person regional event. So I find it interesting, and then that's going to take the top 8 in each region. They qualify to the HyperCon games, I believe they're calling it.
Yeah, which is weird. They're renaming it.
They're just making up a word.
It's not HyperCon anymore?
What'd I say?
That's what he said.
Yeah, isn't that what it was last year, the HyperCon?
Yeah, but it's weird that they started
are you saying with a B?
Bunker.
Is it HyperCon or
Hybrid?
Hybrid.
With a B. I see. Last year was with a P.
No.
No. That's like people calling it Hydrox instead of Hyrox early on. You remember that?
Hydroxycut?
Yeah. The fat burner.
Probably why.
Been on that. Battle Bunker brought to you by Hydroxycut. I don't know if that's true.
So I would say that if you asked a strength athlete, they would say this really leans endurance.
Mm-hmm.
And you ask an endurance athlete, they'd be like, this really leans strength, which tells me it's a good mix of both. So maybe you're both right.
It's hybrid. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. On the women's side, you definitely saw hybrid athletes come out ahead. On the men's side, I think that it was more strength oriented for who did well.
We don't know the results yet.
Did they not like what was on the broadcast for those not official?
I don't believe they're official. Didn't this happen last year at the Battle Bunker final? It was just kind of like, what happened? How did this end up? So I don't think they've officially released the results. It's Tuesday. The event happened Saturday. But on the women's side, it was pretty clear. Meg Jacoby won.
3 for 3.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say. So the events, they were like a Murph style event.
You don't know that.
I can't.
She might get McIntyred.
That's true. This might be some Gov game situation, Jack. They'll be like,
okay, yeah, just hidden scores.
Hidden scores.
Go for it.
Show up. Be like, yeah,
we don't need transparency.
They might track percentage of improvement from event 1 to 2 to 3 and score that higher. You might sweep. Winning the first one might set you up for failure.
That's true. Jack, what are your thoughts on that system?
I'm a huge fan anytime the word percent gets added to, so let's do it.
Percentage of anything.
Bad. Yep.
Percentage of anything. So the way these workouts, where the first workout was basically a miniature Murph. It was a mile run, 60 sandbag, shoulder to overhead, 120 push-ups, and 240 air squats, all with a weight vest. I think 20 and 14 is what they had.
Yep.
Second one was just a straight up lift, 60 seconds max bench press, and then max deadlifts. It was 135 for women, 225, and 185, 315.
315. Yep.
And the final one was a devil pick the hindmost, last man standing type of run. Every lap they ran, the last 3 athletes were eliminated until the last one standing. So overall, what were your thoughts on those events? What do you guys think?
Event 2 is actually really cool to see. Like 1 minute max reps bench, and then you had 3 holding areas essentially. So it's kind of like back in baseball when you're on deck or on double deck or whatever. Like you just kind of stood in your area and then moved to the next little box. And it was just like a 3-minute waiting window, but like everyone was right there because the deadlift thing was 10 feet away from where you were doing bench and stuff. So it was a nice environment where you got to see everybody doing all the stuff all at once. And it was 3 minutes is like enough rest where you could definitely put out another hard effort on a different part of your body. But that was a nasty thing, like bench press followed by deadlift right back to back. Like as an OCR and a hybrid athlete, I don't think that would have really been in my domain.
Scott Jack inspired, hit me with a text like, hey, what do you think about a bench cycle? I'm trying to get swole out here. I'm like, listen, talk to BK. He's the bench guy.
He's probably got the
highest. I'm the bench guy.
You're the bench guy.
You probably have the highest career max.
Well, is yours better? Are you higher than Kirk's? You got a better bench than Kirk?
Kirk's not here.
I don't know. That's right.
That's true. No, never mind.
Yeah. I don't know what his PR is. Mine's not insanely high.
It's not.
Aren't you
low.
like 270 or something?
275.
That's 270. That's pretty good. I bet Kent is maybe around
roughly
that.
There. Yeah. I got 265 on decline bench once, but I don't count that. And I got 6 reps at 225 as my best. I never went for like
Those
an all
both unique stats to go after.
Well, this is back in
you got your 6 rep max
college. No. I was like, oh,
I never repped. I never went for max on decline. I respect that you did.
Yeah,
short bar path. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah. This is back in bro lifting days because one of my roommates had a higher PR. I'm like, I'll show you. I'm gonna go.
Mine was
shorter range
unfair.
of motion. Yeah.
While I was teaching, I was on my prep period lifting, and the basketball team, most of the kids I coached were in Phi Ed class, and they were benching. Everyone was maxing, and I jumped in, and you had 30 guys screaming at you, and you got to be stronger than your team.
Had to impress the little kid.
That inflates it 10% right away.
So Phi Ed is phys ed for those who are
exactly for the literate ones among us.
Wow.
What?
And then
there's an S at the end of it. You couldn't read it. Yeah.
No, I don't put an S on it.
We've talked
PHY.
It's not physical education. It's physical.
You just stop it short.
Oh, let's not get into all these acronyms that are set improperly. I don't have time for S's.
We can only talk about this once per year. We talked about this already.
It's garbage. Anyway, go on, Rich.
PE.
Take control.
So
it's not physical education.
Gym. It's gym. It's one syllable. There you go.
We all get PE.
Yeah.
Your PE class got under the bar and just started going crazy.
Yeah, got to work.
So with these events, they were interesting. It was a lot of pushing, and they broke out again 2 regions. The East happened in 2 weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend they'll do the West Regional in Texas. So to me, it was like it was skewed a little bit toward pushing because it's overhead press, then push up, then bench press. So it's a lot. It was just a lot.
And your like max reps was after all that, so it's not like you were fresh doing your max reps.
No. So on the guys' side, we did see some of the bigger, stronger athletes do well. I think Aston Dommel, who's
that guy's crazy.
Big dude. He is most likely the one who won because I think he won both of
2 of them.
Yeah, he did a deadlift. He did like 30
reps at 315.
315. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think Meg didn't even reach 30 for her.
And
she was like 23, 22, and she
didn't put the bar down.
Yeah,
she never. So it did seem to lean toward the strength athletes, but we didn't see a lot of like high-end hybrid athletes on the men's side there.
Yeah. You saw a few notable names like Caleb Yates is a bigger guy who's like, if this was machine based, he would have been dangerous. You get him on the ski erg or the rower or air bike, something like
I
that.
think meant like Smith machine.
Yeah,
like, I don't know the correlation.
No.
Smith machine strict press.
Caleb's a well-known Smith machine monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think Caleb also would have qualified through.
I like the concept. You had a pure running event, a pure strength event, and then a functional strength event with a running buy-in. It may not have been what I would have come up with, but it did touch all the pieces. But it certainly skewed strength, in my opinion. 1 mile run isn't enough to offset hundreds of weighted reps.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe this is something that I'm trying to figure out how to pose this. Like on the women's end in Hyrox, right? We're seeing CrossFitters come in and do really, really well. On the men's end, we're not necessarily seeing that. And I think it's mostly because the guys are already super jacked, probably because they've been lifting since they've been 14 or 15 and have this massive strength base, and that they're putting an aerobic foundation under. And but they just don't have like the running skill. Where on the women's side, they don't necessarily pack on the muscle that the men would, just because of societal norms, more or less.
Becoming more normal, though.
Becoming more normal, but
future
not
generations, you're going to see the earlier curve, I think.
Absolutely. But like historically, like when we were in high school, like that wasn't necessarily
wasn't as common. Yep.
Right.
I also think the frame requirement allows for better overall well-rounded athletes to be good at CrossFit as a female. I think that you see a lot of specialized, really compact powerhouses on the men's side. And on the women's side, you can be 5'6" and not be a compact powerhouse, but still have the same levers as a compact powerhouse on the men's side. So you see some women that come from more of a varied sports background into that style.
You're talking CrossFit, not Hyrox.
CrossFit specific.
Okay.
So when they come over to Hyrox, they have a wider range of skills where the guys come over able to put out crazy power, but they don't have a lot of the other things or the running. Like when you're like 5'5" and hugely jacked, you're just not going to run super well. I think that part of it is the frame.
The men and women have the same frame. Everyone's the same size in CrossFit.
Yeah. They just look relative to each other. So there's not really.
You don't think that the women are comparatively taller?
Oh, they're definitely comparatively tall. I'm saying they're all 5'8".
Right. And I'm saying as a woman, that's
right. Of average size. I agree. I was just taking
gotcha.
I was just taking a shot at the dudes for not being tall.
But as a CrossFitter or a power athlete, what do you do when the fastest 5K runner in the competition wins the bench and deadlift? You're just like, well, we're obsolete. Well, what are we doing here? Like,
right.
What happens when you watch Meg? She's like, okay, I think she can run like a 17:25K right now. But she also just out-repped us in bench and deadlift. What do you do?
That's the thing. And that's what that seems like on the women's side. Like on the men's side, the strongest dudes are so much stronger than the faster runners that I don't think it would be very hard to see. Like, even if Hunter was in that event, who's kind of like our gold standard of hybrid athlete, like I don't think he's getting 30 some reps at 315. You know, I don't think he's winning that strength event.
No. So this is a question I actually had for you, Rich. I was going to ask off air, but I'm going to ask it on air.
Let's do it.
When you look at the best power lifters, even at an age group level, like state powerlifting records or things like that, you have 155-pound lean dudes putting out crazy bench press and deadlift numbers. And yet in our sports, we see the people who want to get strong have to pack on mass to get any stronger. And when our big power athletes we're thinking about aren't truly that strong compared to little lean guys who are just putting out crazy power, what are we missing in that component? Why can't we look like runners and put out the kind of things that true Olympic lifters or power lifters are putting out, who aren't, for the most part, big, beefy dudes? Why are the women able to do some of this and the guys aren't?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And I don't know if the men versus women is an exact because of what we're saying, like because the floor, I guess, for the women is lower.
True.
You know, so I would just, in terms of training, I don't know, what do you think? Frequency, time, the amount of time spent as a power lifter that you're doing accessory work and doing powerlifting movements. If you're training for endurance, you're just doing, and of course there's different pathways that work in that way as well. But and to be as strong as possible, the working in endurance will inhibit that a little bit. You can definitely get stronger and do both, but to be as strong as possible, it does become a little bit limiting. But I would just say it's training time spent.
It could be. I think of the pump and run always, the pump and run at the Arnold Classic.
You think about that every day. You're like,
I do.
Let me get in there.
You got guys running in the 15s doing 20, 30, 40 reps of their body weight bench press.
At 135?
At any weight. Could be because it's you bench your body weight
mm-hmm.
for reps, and then you run a 5K like 15 minutes later. And you have guys putting up like 39 reps and running 15:58. Like that is I don't know of anyone freakish in our sport who does that. And so they're good runners. They have to be lean and light to be able to do that, but they've also found a way to put out on lifts. So I didn't know if you had insight into that world, since you're the most strength oriented of us, of why some of these people are able to do that. And we haven't yet turned to whatever that style is that they're using in our sport, which would seem to be the ideal pathway, unless it's just that they will work on their bench press 4 to 5 days per week. And we have too many skills to work. Like you said, it's a frequency thing.
I think that's the case. Like even the guy who's a top seed, who I think was 3rd or 4th, John Driscoll, he was the one who was sub 5 and also had like these, like, I don't know, he had crazy, he was like the
400 something squat.
Yeah. Like, and then he was also like a sub 3-hour marathoner. And, but like, and his bench is really big too, but it seems like it's so polarized that it's like bench, squat, run, that when it comes to the max capacity, he's not putting them together that well. Cause that was one thing that he didn't do that well in the regional, or the online qualifier, was the actual Metcon part.
Right.
Like that it didn't add up.
Yeah.
So maybe this, like the very straight line linear progression stuff can work in isolation.
Yeah.
But when putting it all together, maybe it doesn't add up, because that's what we're seeing in CrossFit. I mean, but those athletes train for 6 hours a day. So everything's raising up, but they're still kind of mediocre in everything. Right. They're not exceptional at anything except CrossFit.
So you're saying that if we wanted to get really good at battle bunker, you would find guys like that could just train, push, pull, run, and be exceptional at both. But having to be ready for Hyrox or DECA is what really limits us.
You have 10 specific zones in DECA, 8 in Hyrox that you have to get good at. It's just not going to happen. And if you're in OCR, you're probably going to skew way more towards the endurance side and just not spend that time, because you have to fill in the pieces everywhere else.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But that seems to be like what this battle bunker is really kind of going after. Because another part that was pretty apparent during especially on the men's side, was the quality of reps. And the judging is always going to be an issue no matter what. And it didn't seem like the judges were necessarily busting balls at this one. And like there was some really sketchy reps on a lot of things. And I hate being this guy, because that's something that is just very off-putting to me when people sit at home and are just like, oh yeah, but these reps are really bad. But there was like presses out in front of you on the overhead stuff. Clearly not. There was like some athletes that weren't getting full depth and weren't opening up their hips on the air squats. And it's just like,
you ever done one of these?
Yeah, can we? And I mean, hey, if it's on the judges to call, that's always my stand. It's like, hey, it's on the judges. They got to figure that out.
You need to set the tone as a judge in like the first 5 to 10 reps, because then you kind of figure out like what's allowable. Like people are gonna do the minimum amount of work every single time that's allowable. But I think if you're strict right away, it's like you have that muscle memory on your first few reps, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to get away with anything else if I got called out on a couple no reps early on, and you don't want to do extra reps. So I think be harsh early on, and people kind of judge themselves without realizing it afterwards.
And there are exercises that I think it's funny to call out for them, like wall balls, for example. Since I think we all agree doing bad rep wall balls is not easier. Like you might not have range of, like your depth may not be accessible to you, but you're not going to be faster or better at it. And you're going to burn out quicker breaking with your muscles rather breaking skeletally. So I think that those are like whatever. But when you're talking push press or full lockout on like trying a minute of deadlifting or things like that, those are things that's a difference between like an extra 3 to 10 reps. If you don't have to fully get after like perfect form, that would matter. This is a competition where you would greatly benefit from kind of pushing the limits on your reps.
Do you think you guys would ever want to be judges? Like if it was like, hey, come judge for a CrossFit competition or something.
Nope.
It'd be really shitty. It'd be really hard.
I would not care who the athlete is, though. I wouldn't be intimidated by like, oh my God, it's Justin Medeiros. I have to give him a little bit of slack because he's so like people who do that.
You've turned that corner.
Yeah.
Since Big Bear, you're like, fuck everybody.
Exactly.
They're just a dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I reffed 6th and 7th grade soccer.
How old were you?
Slightly older. Maybe I was 5th and 6th doing it in 8th grade. I quit. That was the worst. Being an official sucks. I don't know why anyone would ever want to be an official at anything in your life.
It's Nick Riker.
And I mean, yeah. That Nick lives that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's exhibit A. I have someone that I used to teach with who volunteers at the CrossFit Games every year, and she's the perfect person to go judge it. Loves it. Like that person, that's what they love. But like if you do a great job, you piss people off.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a bad job, you piss other people off. There's no winning there. Why would you want to?
Totally. That'd be very just to hold the standard, right? Holding people to a certain level of expectation. Maybe that's something that you have passion. There's people like that, that like there's a CrossFit person who I think's whole shtick is like being a stickler on people's reps, and that Andrew Hiller.
Yeah.
Have you caught wind of that guy?
He puts out these like 20-minute videos breaking down why so-and-so shouldn't have made the games and all that stuff, right? Yeah.
Calls out elite CrossFitters and is like, this sucks.
Yep. But negativity gets more eyes, so he's got a reason doing it, I'm sure.
And so that was definitely apparent in at least on the men's side of things. So again, we're not exactly sure who all made it. When they do, we'll give them their shine. But yeah, it's going to be interesting as it goes forward to see, because they did a decent job of the coverage. It wasn't like, it's basically what we're used to. Probably a little less grainy to some extent. But
I think it would have been good if Austin had a co-host.
You should have got in there.
I don't know, but I don't think I was on his radar. But I do think having a little bit more banter would have been good. Like he did good holding the fort, and maybe he was hoping Hunter would come in and join him at some point. But Hunter was out there judging people and making sure it all went smoothly and stuff. So he probably had way too much on his plate at that point.
So all we really know. Go ahead.
What did this make you feel, Rich? Are you gonna do Texas?
Extra scared.
You gonna do it?
No, I'm not gonna do it.
Did this lean you away from it, or had you already decided?
Well, there was some stuff that came up on in my personal life where I have to kind of do travel elsewhere, so that just kind of solidified it. It's like I just can't. I was leaning away from it because of the fall final. It's like in October, and the way that Hyrox is shaken out, I'm gonna
need to be available every weekend.
Yeah, to do a cross continental flight to hopefully get some sort of qualifier. But I need to be ready in the fall for Hyrox, right? And I would find this to be very distracting. It looks cool, it looks fun, and I would definitely want to do it. And plus, they're saying that grid stuff. In terms of, I think I would definitely get worked in that lift. But
what would you have done it? How many reps would you get an event to?
Not.
What was the bench weight?
185 for a minute.
In 1 minute.
That's enough.
That's enough. That's not nothing. I'm not getting over 20 in either of them. Okay. I don't think. And so I think I'm like close to the bottom in that one.
I would have been pumped if I got like 10 reps in bench. Probably would have got 12 or 13 in deadlift also. It wouldn't have been pretty.
You've done 225 for 6, and you don't think you could do
that was when I was
a decade ago,
like 21 years old, and like stopped running for an entire semester.
You just had
decline Smith machine.
No Smith, never used one. Yeah. Bracken, how do you think you would have done?
BK's repping it out, dude. He would still be going.
I think I could have done 13 to 15 bench reps, and I'd have been lucky to get 8 deadlift.
You could do more than that on the bench.
I don't think so, because I think it would build up so quickly.
You definitely, and I think
it's hard to rest bench. You have to
be doing
re-rack
threes.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably try to do in 5s
I was thinking I'd go 5-5, and then suddenly I'd be like, man, I'm filling up way too big. And then
yeah.
And it was after
a lot.
almost
yeah,
200 reps of pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I've learned that I'm not going to do as much as I think. And really, I think 8 deadlift would be my target. And I may not get there.
Yeah.
315 is something.
So I would have to that would be my PR. I haven't gone more than 3 rep maxing since college. So that would be a PR every time I touched it. So I would probably try to do it like 1 every 3 to 5 seconds.
I would just gear up, dude. I'd be having like putting on those like suspenders.
Oh,
under the giant weightlifting outfit. Yeah.
I have a big old belt on. It takes smelling salts. Woo!
That'd be hilarious if you thought you were gonna suck and you just like were that tool.
Were you allowed to drop?
Yeah.
I don't know. From the top, I don't know.
Oh, I thought you meant like have to go unbroken the entire time.
I don't think. I think a rep count.
You had to lower. You had to lower it. Yeah.
So I'd say 5. Then it would be my target.
Better off bouncing that beast. Boom. Bounce it off the ground.
Try to hit 2, rest for 20 seconds, hit 2.
Yeah, once you get up
6.
once, that to me, the first pull, if you're allowed to go touch and go, I mean, you obviously can't bend your arms and bounce it, but the first lift off the ground is the hardest for me. So I would try to hold on to it for
maybe it'd be 2.
5.
Maybe my goal would be 2.
Just a 2 rep. Get set up, and just lift it, and then wait for 45 more seconds. Do it again.
No, bounce the second one and call it. Not injured.
Get called a no rep.
You look, I'm getting last anyway. Might as well.
Yeah, I'd create controversy. I'd pick a fight with my judge and argue with him, and then my time would be up. He'd be like, "Oh, see what you cost me."
I like it.
What?
Yeah. So on the men's side, I'm not exactly sure. It was definitely Austin Dommel who won. John Driscoll, I think, was in that top 5 to 3. Caleb Yates, I believe, qualified through, but I don't know anybody else because we haven't really seen the results. I think Garrett Mitchell made it through. On the women's side, the top 3 was pretty clear. It was Meg Jacoby, Jess Petro, and JoJo Kelly.
Jess was impressive.
Dude, her push-ups, she was better at push-ups than Meg was.
Yeah. And she went out. I knew that Meg wasn't like fully pressing on the last man standing competition at the end, but Jess can run. And I know that she was at DECA World Championship last year. I think she was in strong only.
Yeah, she has a good mile maybe this year. We just talked about all this DECA stuff.
Yeah, she went like 5:18, I think, but she was impressive seeing her in multiple events. Super strong.
Yeah.
So I had one nitpicky thing with, I don't know how they score it. Obviously, no one does. They may not know yet, but this is what they ran into in Spartan games, but kind of like in reverse, which is that there are huge delineations between 1 rep and 30 reps, but a lap can knock 3 people out. And then 1 more lap, 3, like there's not big chunks that can be between things. And so a strength-based athlete could go out and sprint 2 laps and not be in the bottom like 8th, or sprint 3 laps, sell out to get through 3 and be okay with not bleeding out points. But you could get out and sell out on deadlifts and bench or whatever as a runner and take dead last and have it destroy you. So like the scaling between the two, like you could very clearly take last with 1 rep. You couldn't really do that because what's the difference between 1 rep and 6 reps on the laps? So I don't know how they're going to score it, but it was the opposite for Spartan games. Like you had to complete a 50K or you could just touch and give up on a rock. Like it wasn't the same and people got upset about that. This was kind of the inverse where the running was kind of the easy way out. You could fight the system. If you weren't a good runner, you could go sprint a lap, qualify through, and not take last.
If you saw some of the non-runners run, though, I don't know. They look like they sold out.
True, but you couldn't do that on a bench. You can't just decide I'm going to sprint my first rep, get 10 done, and be done. If you can't move it, you can't move it.
Yeah.
Almost anyone could run like a low 60-second quarter if they wanted to sell out and not take last.
Yeah, Rich, I don't know if you saw on the men's side, but I know that like Heidi Williams, for instance, she did not get one rep on bench, so she kind of got away with that. She just couldn't lift it. She tried a couple of reps. I don't know if that happened on the men's side. If anybody was able to Like I feel like everybody's going to do
Yeah,
185.
everybody did some. Like, what would be the way around that then? Would it be like for time, 15 reps for time?
I don't know what the fix is because I like the elimination style running. We've been asking for an event like that for years. I think it's a cool event. I don't have a fix. It's just an interesting piece that, again, when you get to these hybrid style events, it's hard to set them up so that the scoring is consistent because the events have to be so varied.
Jack, what do you do?
Percent a winner, obviously.
Percent a winner.
No, I mean, for the lap based one, let's say that you know that there are 30 people or 20 people and you're going to have 3 each time. So it's like 7 different eliminations happen. So just 100% divided by 7. So like you get 15% fewer points every round that you last or something like that. Just to scale it.
The run course was a bit of a disaster.
It was the gym mile.
It was like 250-meter laps on grass with like 90-degree turns.
Yeah.
So it was like
get to the front.
People were sprinting, getting cut off.
Meg hurdled over a cone.
Yeah, Meg played it right. She just got herself in the top 3, and then after like 2 laps, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna win this now." Yeah.
And Jess was the only one who went with her.
On the men's side, I forget who won, but that person basically took it out from the start.
Yeah, I forget his name also, but he was like, "I'm not messing around with you guys."
Yeah,
and it was just like a championship race for the second pack. Like as soon as that guy broke away, everyone's like, "All right, we're slowing down. We're doing a sit and kick."
Yeah,
and then you saw non-runners try to sprint at the end of a race, and it was as pretty as you'd imagine.
Kind of like indoor track. If you can hold off into the first couple turns, you can just take the best line off that last turn and get to the end of the lap. In theory, if you have enough fitness to do it.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty smoked by then.
You want to front run that though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. After watching that, you guys were right on the strategy. Just don't even get mixed up with people.
So I am not doing the West region because I'm simply scared of embarrassing myself, and the competition is far too fierce that I don't want anything to do with that.
Schwartz is so far in your head right now.
Gonna whoop you.
I can't say it's because of one specific athlete, but I'm pretty intimidated in general about how it's feeling like for that West regional. But the athletes are actually pretty good in this West regional. It's like you'll see Isaiah, that dude Mike Brown, who's very impressive, Gunther Klaus, who's like a 63 guy, Cole, Jake Gibbs, who's like a 65, 66 guy, Philip Muscarella.
He's a Riker -2.
He's a Riker -2.
Mm-hmm. The Riker line sets the
65. Yeah. That was a pretty good debut by him, honestly. Like,
he did good.
I'll give him a shout
awesome.
out.
I'm not making fun of him. I'm saying the Riker line is now like right. Hunter McIntyre used to have this very disrespectful system of ranking OCR athletes. And he would have someone's name. He said, if this person beats you, you suck. If you beat them, you're part of the big boy club at every race. And if it didn't matter what happened in the race, he'd be like, well, you got beat by blank, you suck. I don't respect you as an athlete. But if you beat them, all right, you're legitimate.
Were you ever the line?
He never told me if I was, which
means you were.
I probably was the line at some point. But there were 2 different guys who were the line at points for him. And they weren't terrible lines.
Do you care to share? Or?
No, in that case, so disrespectful.
All right.
But anyway, I think Riker sets that right now. Riker, it's the Riker line for Hyrox this
year.
You
either suck or you don't. If you beat...
No, not, and I'm not Hunter, so I won't say suck or don't. But if you beat Riker's time, like I would consider you a contender of some point in the United States. Yeah. And if you're below it, then you're B tier. And I'm B tier, so I'm going
C. I'm going C tier if you're below that.
I think he's B.
Yeah, you said if you're below that, you're B tier. So,
dude, let's get freaking Riker one of those B team sports bras.
Yeah, I never got mine, so I don't think that he's gonna get his.
So, anyways, the Riker line exists.
Riker line now exists.
Yeah, that's the first step for people. If you're not trying to get Elite 15, the next thing available is the Riker line.
So let's go ahead and move into Hyrox. First, I just want to talk.
I did have one question for you. Sorry, Rich. I know I'm cannibalizing this.
No, perfect. Great.
Looking at who was showing up to the East Coast Battle Bunker.
Yes.
Versus who did well. Who are the notable left outs? Who would you have predicted based on what the final at Battle Bunker Championship was last year, the style of event it was? Who didn't get through that will do well at a championship but couldn't get through regionals?
That's an interesting question. There's some names on here of athletes who didn't show, who I thought would do well. Like Austin Azar is on this list. Jimmy
Jared
Hughes
Newby
did really well.
Jared
didn't do.
I know he didn't do it this year, but I think he would have been a good East Coast guy.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't know what his lifting's like. I assume it's probably pretty solid,
fine.
like everything
it's
else.
Fine. Yeah, it's like he's freaking just a big, strong dude. Not a ton of names on this list, honestly, and we don't know exactly
from
who's
our
through.
domain.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
West Coast, what that leads to is West Coast list is full of people that would be really nasty at the game, but may not get through regionals.
Potentially. Like VJ's on this. I don't think VJ's doing this either, but he would be an example of that, right? Like he would definitely get last in that lift, even though he's getting much stronger.
His deadlifts improve, but like
bench,
still,
I don't know what his bench
I don't know
is.
if you can do that.
No. That could, I don't know. It could happen to someone like Anas. You know, like if like he gets a judge that's strict on him, maybe, and he had a hard time in also with that burpee and thruster workout.
Strength one. Yeah.
So like maybe the combined modalities is not quite there yet with that. So like maybe he has a hard time in that first one as well.
He better win the last one.
He should win that last one, especially without me there.
Yeah.
I should just go and just sit on him and see if I could outkick him and just be like, dude, if I had my shit together in college, I'm running 355. You ran 357? Psh.
Yeah.
Are you talking 1,500 in his mile?
Yeah, right.
Were you a kicker or were you a front runner?
Yeah, big time kicker.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I had some big time speed back then, but not so much now. I don't know how a kick would go these days.
Dipping under 60 for a 400 these days isn't fun.
That'd be sick. I'd be stoked if I got like 59.
No,
come
on.
Come on.
You can't go and crack 60?
Not like just because I don't think it would go that well. I've been doing some 200s.
If you think you were a sub 4 miler and you had big time kick speed, sub 60 should be like.
I'm 37 years old, Bracken. I don't know what you want here.
In 20 minutes, could you go to the track and break 60 minutes? Right now, if I set a timer, could you break 60 seconds?
Do I get some of the super spikes?
Whatever you want. You spawn at a track and your warm-up starts right now. You've got 20 minutes to break 60 seconds.
I can start in blocks.
It's gonna hurt, but for sure. I don't want blocks.
No,
I couldn't do it in blocks.
Put me in blocks and I got sub 60, no doubt.
Okay, so you're 59 high then. When I ran
400 hurdles, I did the wide receiver lean for the first one, and then I did the one hand down, 1 foot in blocks for the second.
I like that.
Oh boy, magic
speed staying up there.
Nice.
I was too inflexible for blocks. There's no mobility there.
Yeah.
That should just wind you tight like a stiff rubber band. Just
I was a coiled spring who unleashed by standing upright and then running.
Tipping forward. So sub 60 beat Hartman. What do you, if we could get a 4x4, let's get the old squad back together. Kirk's involved. Are we going under 4 minutes?
Yancey ran a 57 last year at 50 years old. We can break 60.
What track?
Documented. It's on video. Will Raymond recorded them.
In Spain?
Barcelona track.
Yeah.
Everything's faster in Barcelona.
Maybe this is just me again being way overconfident in something I can do, that I would get out there and I would start rigging up with like 350 to go. I don't know, but I just don't think sub 60
to go.
What have you run in a mile?
You average 63s or something, right?
In high school.
Yeah. I mean, post collegiate. I don't know.
I've been finishing with some 200s in my workouts, and if I press and like finish all the way through, it's 30 seconds. I could potentially.
200s are weird though when you're old.
What, 400s are like what, more up my alley?
I think you start out trying to run hard and fast in a 200, and you're not using a fluid stride.
Okay, maybe I'm 58 mid. No way I'm under 58.5. No way under 50.
I'm going 56 and a half for you.
3 years ago, I came through in 59 in an 800. And it felt terrible. Like, how am I going to run a second lap off this? But at no point did it think, you're not going to crack 60.
What'd you finish?
201.
See, that's really strong. I would be happy with a 61.
All right, Bracken, who wins, Rich or Macaulay in a 400 right now? Because Macaulay's known to do some freakish things off no training.
Yeah, he has a weird walk around speed. Like whatever I can walk around with, he's a little quicker. He's also younger. He's 4 years younger.
It's true.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm toast.
3 years younger. Yeah, in Colorado Springs, when he wasn't training, he ran 159.
That's pretty crazy.
Being a ballet.
No, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
That ain't happening. If I'm going,
I ran 2 flat that same week, and I was at like 60 to 70 miles a week and running 12 to 20,000 feet of vert. Like I was fit, and he beat me in an 8.
All right, how about this? I'm gonna name out names, Rich. You tell me, can this person break 60 right now? Atkins.
No.
Killian.
Yes,
No.
Atkins can break 60. Killian can't.
No.
No way. All right. VJ.
DJ could break 60.
Tent.
No.
Yes.
No way.
Meg.
No.
Lauren.
No.
Nicole.
No.
Okay.
60
I know 60's moving.
is pretty
for
fast on
girl.
the female side.
Yeah.
Like a 4-minute girls 4x4
That's good. Yeah.
is like
NCAA's was one in like 328. So yeah.
Well,
I don't think there's anyone female in our sport that's going sub 60
I don't
right
think so.
now.
I don't think so.
But I think every competent male runner could do it. Rich,
No,
I think
man.
you're just selling yourself
How about
short.
Hunter?
No. I think you have
Yes.
No way.
There are untalented prepubescent boys who can do this, and you're telling me OCR and hybrid athletes who train 7 to 12 hours a week can't break 60 seconds for one lap.
Never touching anaerobic, especially on the run.
You're
end.
going anaerobic in your workouts. I know it's different mechanically.
Mechanically it ain't. You're not doing that.
We need a live stream of this. We need each one of us to go to a track and put it on Instagram Live and run a sub 60.
It's going to take me many months, but I'll do it once I'm
sorry.
back. Yeah.
Jack couldn't break right now.
No,
Jack, you're out.
I couldn't break 60 minutes, basically.
All right.
Kirk just ran, 40 by 400 at 70, and his
70.
last one was 64.
And he's old.
That's 70 for 400.
His
So what?
40th rep was 64.
Yeah.
He ran them in 70s. That's pretty fast.
Average 70, and his last was 64.
You're
telling me he fresh couldn't cut 4 seconds off?
I didn't say Kirk could. Kirk's fast. Kirk has
Nick Riker breaking 60?
I think Nick could. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say almost everybody on that list that I mentioned could break 60 on the men's side specifically.
I disagree.
Okay.
We'll
chime in if
up.
you guys think. I want people to comment.
I want to say I
what
ran
their
62 or 63 my last 400 in a mile.
Yeah, but that's less than 7 minutes. That's up the wheelhouse. That's in your wheelhouse, man.
I'm saying you only have to do one of those.
The thing is, I could probably run like a 61 and then with a minute recovery, probably do another 61. And just that other gear.
But if you repeat that workout a week later, you're breaking 60 on both of them.
No,
I don't think I can do
you're
2.
more used to it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
I think I think I could run 55 right now. I think the cost of it, I couldn't run for a week.
Yeah,
I believe that you could do that.
Maybe 55.5.
Yeah,
Nick Mask.
Nick could probably run like
417. What can he run right now?
He could probably run like a 54.
Okay. So you think that he's got 6 seconds on basically everyone in the sport?
Because he has like 30 seconds on everybody in the mile.
No, he doesn't. Not 30.
Not like he has at least like 15.
Okay, 15.
What did he run?
Like 417.
It was
or
419.
18.
419.
419. Okay.
He's got like
Indoors.
2 seconds on Botras and
No.
VJ. Didn't they run 421 and 422?
A couple of years ago, but yeah.
Was it that
DJ
fast?
went 441, I think, at elevation a couple months ago.
I ran 425 with a dad bod.
Well, you guys always overestimate what these OCR athletes are capable of doing on pure running stuff.
Yep.
I keep it level. Good thing I'm here balancing this out.
I'm going to run a 400 this week.
All right, maybe I will do
Bracken's career is over.
I will do one at some point. Let me
Wait,
know.
you saying
Let me
I'm
know
going to
when
injure
you're doing it.
myself, or that this is what I'm reduced to?
Oh, you're injuring yourself.
We'll do that.
Or you're going the carnival game route. You're running 400s.
That won't hurt me. I just ran a 752-meter race.
That's true. You're ready.
First of its kind.
Maybe we'll see a 400 at Battle Bunker. Maybe they'll just line everybody up, but they'll be carrying like a refrigerator, or something.
My last 200 was 28 or 29 that day.
At the CrossFit Games, they did like a 500-meter run a couple of years ago, and they were all like 115, 160. That's averaging 60 and then some. Granted, it might not have been measured properly, but if those guys can run 60, so can most high-end OCR people, including you, Rich.
I put 60 seconds in the 400, equivalent to a 5-minute mile for a competent runner.
Maybe.
All right. So Bracken, you said the Hunter has the "you suck" line for like high end right there. So is 60 seconds the equivalent?
It's unfair to a lot of people. I'm not going to say you suck.
No.
But I think if you're a fit runner with any amount of athleticism, you can run sub 60. Maybe not in your first attempt, but you can get one done.
Yeah.
No. All right. All right, let's move on.
Rich, run one this year. This week.
I'll run one in the next week or two, and we'll do a live stream like the Jakob Ingebrigtsen.
Yeah, at 3K.
At 3K, we'll do that.
Look, he can do 8 of them in a row. You can do one.
Can we get some wave light or something at least?
Yeah.
Yeah, wave light would be really nice.
Have Carl pace you.
Dude,
guys, can I get a wave light for a 400, please?
Can you get out here on this?
Don't want to get out too hot.
Yeah.
So I would recommend people check out the West Regional. I think it's going to be strong. There's also a guy, Phil Muscarella, who's in this, who was at Battle Bunker last year, but he was also a regionals CrossFit level athlete, semi. Yeah. He was at semis with Isaiah. So I think the competition is going to be pretty strong.
That's the recipe for success right there.
It should be.
Some experience with this hybrid stuff and a regional game.
Very, very strong. So, and then on the women's side, it's Lauren Weeks, Calypso Sheridan, Carly Wopat, Katie Knight's on this list. Lauren Rentala's on the list. Camila Mass is here. Ida's on this list. Ida Steensgård. So there's
going to be good.
She's coming over for Battle Bunker.
She's in San Francisco right now because her husband has like
she just did the Euro.
I know.
Did she fly over for Euros?
Believe she did.
In Hungary?
Yeah.
Now she's back. So the women's field is certainly stronger than on the East, and the men's field too. The East Regional, it's basically like
the least regional.
It's like Europe.
It's like the NBA in the 2000s. Everything's in the West.
NFC least.
Yeah. Please.
Absolutely.
Go Birds, baby. All right. So should we move on to Hyrox? We touched on it a little bit. We had some people. This is the first stop this year for the Hyrox season. We're still not quite sure how they're going to do the qualification system. It's sounding like it's going to be terrible. But a lot of the athletes were, at least on the women's side, came out thinking that they were going to try to get some kind of time. They got hit with a 4.25 lap course. Packed
17 turns.
Lots of turns.
So smooth.
Packed full of New Jerseyans and New Yorkers. New Jerseyites? What are you? What is that?
I don't know. It's usually just like, I don't know. They're very regional. They're
New Jerseys.
Like New Jerseyans. No, like South Jersey, that's Philadelphia. North Jersey, that's New York. Central Jersey, they try to be their own thing. There's like Jersey Shore, obviously. They're very.
Ollie D was there. Yeah.
The Situation. Dude,
which cast member would be the best at Hyrox?
Dude, I was going to ask, but the Situation breaks 60 in the 400.
Ronnie could move the sleds. I know that.
Ron's a beast.
He could.
Vinny's DNF. And
Vinny's not strong enough.
Yeah, I mean, Situation's been in that fitness game too. He has like a line of supplements, I'm pretty sure. I think he's like still around.
I don't get why he got that deal, but
didn't he start a company?
He signed himself.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if he got sponsored for that, because it's like, I don't know, some guy who's like a binge drinker who isn't really that fit. I don't get why he was on all these workout plans and stuff, but
because he had 80 million followers.
It's probably true at that time. Yeah.
So on the women's side of things, the race didn't really play out very fast. You might need 2 times to qualify for any regional race. I'm not exactly sure. So last week we talked about it for a minute, and I was under the impression that it was 1. I'm hearing things now that it's 2. And if the first regional race is Barcelona, again, this is all just speculation.
Conjecture.
Yes. If the first race is Barcelona, and the regional race that you could do to qualify for World Championships is Barcelona in November 18th, that would leave us just Hyrox Chicago, which is November 11th, to get 2 times in order for us to qualify for the first regional championship. Hyrox Miami is not looking like it's going to happen. It's just kind of what I'm hearing. I heard someone try to register and it just redirected them to a different page. So if we didn't do New York, that's 1 less opportunity, and the regional championships might start before any U.S. athlete who didn't run New York has a chance to run 2. And if you did run 2, it would be the week before Barcelona in Chicago.
Add to that, this course was so legitimately slow that Lauren Weeks' time may disqualify her from being in the Elite 15 by November.
Like the way the times were this year, it was 65. What was Chris? She was 65.
67 something.
Yeah, that was her time in New York, but her qualifying time for
65. Oh, like 65 11.
65 high.
Yeah.
What was
no,
it?
I thought it was teens.
I thought it was a little bit higher.
Either way,
yeah.
A reigning world champ is going to be on the edge of not qualifying based off that.
You had 4 people in this.
Could be.
Yeah. You had 4 people in the field who just competed and finished in the top. Actually, I don't know if Alondra was in the top 10, but competed in the Elite 15 a couple weeks ago, and suddenly they're all 3 to 5 minutes slower. Like, questionable.
Did you guys catch?
Cancun?
Did you guys catch why Alondra's sled pull penalty? How that was implemented in
Did she actually
World
have
Championships?
A penalty?
She did.
Okay.
She did. I don't remember before, but I was asking her about it, and she was saying that like, and I could be completely, this could be completely wrong, but that she would pull it like 10 meters, and then she'd have to run back and pull it back to the start, and then run back and start over. So she was going back and forth. She went back and forth 8 times, and that was how they implemented. That was the penalty. Is that
what did she get penalized for?
10-meter penalty, but it had to be new sides each time.
Yes, I believe so.
And she got how many penalties?
I forget. Like I think
because it's supposed to be 1 10-meter penalty per infraction, right?
I honestly don't know. But the way she said it, she went back and forth 8 times. So it's like she was pulling it a little bit and pulling it back a little bit and then pulling it again.
Ridiculous.
She didn't say why she was penalized?
She might have, but I clearly wasn't paying attention.
I would have been furious.
Oh yeah, big time. So she ran in this race as well in New York, and she was, her total time here says 69, but I think she was 67 something, so she may cut another penalty. It looks like her rock zone's all screwed up, like she did get some sort of penalty in that, or her ski erg is all like these times.
From the jump, everything was screwed up.
The timing was screwed up. So the one of the saving graces that you have in a Hyrox is the big board, and when you cross a certain mat, it will pop up onto the big board, tell you where you are on your run, right? So if you have 1 lap, if you go 1 lap and it's a 3-lap course, it'll be like run 2, or if you come across again and you need to go into it, it'll be like workout 4. So you go in. The mat, it just didn't work. So people were just running extra laps all over the place.
It also looked to be poorly placed in the men's race on the first run, the very first run. As they're coming around, you had someone with the in right here looking up to his left. It looked like checking a screen. It looked like the screen was like 10 feet before the turn-in point.
Oh, geez.
So it would.
So you're
and
moving.
It's notoriously not reliable. Rich, when we did doubles at championships, on our second run, it was already off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But this was as bad as we've seen, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So just another thing. It's like, man, the course sucked to begin with. It's a decent market for them.
They need a new venue.
They need a new venue. You can't be running
so many venues,
and it's so packed tight there that like just doesn't make any sense. And it's not in New York, right? It's at the Meadowlands. It's in New Jersey. So, I mean, maybe that's just, I don't know. It's probably expensive.
If you're willing to branch out to the Meadowlands, now you have options.
Yeah.
You can go Atlantic City. You can go anywhere you want. You can get conventions.
Don't do that.
I'm not saying for the aesthetics of the neighborhood. I'm saying
South
you can
Jersey. That's Philly.
You can find places, but if you're willing to call it New York and not be New York, if you're willing to go elsewhere, there are plenty of convention centers and places you could set this up.
Yeah, I wonder if it's something like Long Island or something.
That's another topic, just like venue selection that I think we're kind of frustrated on certain sides. Obviously, we don't know the discussions behind the scenes, and obviously money and stuff goes into it. But like, for instance, Fort Carson Spartan Race happened this past weekend, and that's like the least enjoyable course ever. And everybody who I talked with afterwards was like, just more of the same. It was just twice as long. Like, and you've got all the millions of trails that you can go on in Colorado and stuff, and they choose there. And like other times you'll go to a certain race and it's like, you have all these options and that's where you went instead of, so it's like, it's kind of questionable at times why certain venues are chosen. I've heard that parking is the main requirement that people overlook when they're like, well, it's a great area, but you can't fit 3,000 cars there, so it's not going to happen. But still, it's like I would love to see a little bit of switching it up on certain things.
There's also things like union presence that's like very challenging for these big venues to like, you'll never see one in Philadelphia. It's such a strong union city that they'll be like, we're good, we don't need to.
Is that why Oaks is where it's held for DECA?
Most likely. Yeah, if they looked, and DECA, I guess DECA has had it in some straight up urban areas, but a lot of times it's kind of like
Sacramento was right downtown.
Was it? Yeah. Downtown Sac? I gotta get there. Was it? What's the light? The beam? Hit the beam situation? What was it? Beam. What were the Kings doing? The beam.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, Jack.
The beam.
Jack's just around basketball. He's around enough to
basketball.
I guess
basketball adjacent. Has one TV. Okay. Can't watch.
Yeah. Has one TV. More than you.
I used to struggle at the stadium races with union stuff. Like you couldn't adjust. You couldn't move a fence. You couldn't put up a banner. And they're clocking out, they're taking their breaks, they're showing up, and like they're not doing overtime, but you can't finish up for them. It was like a big issue for them.
And there's a foreman there who's like watching out, making sure.
His job is to make sure no one works.
Chicago's a pretty strong union city too, and they still end up going there, probably just the marquee market. But Jeff Barton, the MC, was like, "Yeah, I got to get somebody to turn the volume up or down."
Oh, really?
Couldn't turn the volume. Yeah.
So, I mean, it gets a little ridiculous. Yeah, Some of these rules were really needed back in the day to break up like mob grip and bad things.
Yeah, for sure. But now it's like,
now you're just protecting.
Yeah.
You're protecting yourself from nothing.
So, all right, I got IT on the issue. At Worlds, Alondra had a 12.5 meter pull, then 2 meter penalty, reset 2 meter pull, 2 meter pull, reset 3 meter pull.
Literally 2 meters. So she had to pull it like 6 feet and then get on the others.
And then run back and do it again, pull it back.
What a waste of time. That's so stupid.
What was she doing? Was she like overstepping? Or she
must have just been punching people or something. I don't know. Unsportsmanlike, flagrant.
She was too American.
They took it to replay, said that was an intent to injure.
Again, New York this weekend, everyone was stepping over the line on the pulls. Riker came in, didn't know you weren't allowed to. His like first 4, and then they called him out. And then the guy next to him was like always having his heel on the line. And it's just like, I don't know. World Championship is a weird time to give weird penalties.
And I'm not sure if it was because on the pull, or if it was a lap situation, or I have no idea. An in and out type of deal. I have no idea. But maybe it was from stepping over the line. That's a good point.
I'd love to know if they were briefed that this is going to be a penalty option. You're going to have the most tedious sled pull penalty. Don't screw up prior to this.
It's like, then solve half of a Rubik's Cube and then set it down. Continue your pull.
And like last year, Hunter and Kent, they missed a length on the burpee broad jumps. It's like, imagine if they were like, all right, come to the sled pull, boys. You got some back and forth to do.
Dude, if everything was a sled pull.
We're going to do an EMOM on the sled pull until you penalize yourself enough.
You're going to do burpee broad jumps, but backwards.
Yeah.
So Lauren ran 64.27. I mean, that should be fine for her. But then Chris was 67.32. Tara was 67.40 something. Alondra's time here says 69 and change, but I believe she was 67. I think her and Tara were really close.
That's not going to be Elite 15.
No. Then Lauren Rentala was 112. Lauren Cullen was 113. So that was your top 5. Not extremely fast, but at the same time, those 4 top women they were just geared up for a world championship event. I think a lot of people are looking at this like, oh, well, she just ran 59 something. It's like, yes, at the end of a big build up, like a lot of excitement toward one race. Like if she did kind of have a peak set, it's really hard, like physically, yes, to maintain that, and mentally, like to gear up for something like that again. It's not something you do every other week.
You have to check out, or else it's not sustainable.
Well, and then the peaking process for some athletes involves like they cut out all sugar, all alcohol, like toppings, sauces, dressing, like they'll cut everything off to cut a few pounds prior and to reduce inflammation. And then right after, they add everything back in. It's not uncommon to see elite athletes go up like 6 to 12 pounds in the start of an off season because they add all the things back in they just deprived themselves of. And it's not inherently unhealthy to do those things, but then to have peaked, rode the line of like burnout, do all that, have to rest up from it and gain a little bit of weight and just kind of get sluggish for a bit. It's just hard to fire. It's not like I did this workout 3 weeks ago, I can do it again now. It's not really like this apples to oranges comparison.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting them to run. Like if Lauren would have broke the world record or something like that, ran like 58:30, my mind would have been completely blown. I mean, she blows my mind on the regular, but this would just been absurd. So for her to come get 64, a good solid time that'll keep, if like she does need 2 times, at least she has one now. Same with Chris. Like Chris is like, the winter was so hard to come into shape. I'm in some kind of shape now. Let me try to capitalize. Like that makes sense. Alondra lives in that market. Tara's on the East Coast. So maybe it's just like, hey, while it's here, we'll do it.
Isn't it weird that, go ahead.
I just didn't know about the potential 2 races for regionals. And so I couldn't explain why Lauren was there.
Right.
All I could think of is she popped in her fitness post Worlds and she's like, I've got a record run in me. I'm going to go do something. But even then it's New York though.
Right.
It's not and it's like record place. Is Kent the only one to ever run fast there?
Probably
Meg.
And that may have not been. Oh yeah. Meg that was when her time ended up being 66 something, but
yeah,
she debuted well.
That's true.
But she didn't run fast for a like Kent runs what 58:30 there or 59 or something.
May have been a different venue too. I'm not sure if that was the same one.
Yeah.
They used to have it in New York proper, in Manhattan. In West Manhattan, what do they call that area? Right about some pier, whatever. But yeah,
isn't it weird though? Like if you look at track and field after the Olympics or World Championships, it's like the 2 to 3 weeks after. That's when people go after world records because they're like in prime fitness and they're tapered and stuff. And for some reason, it's like the opposite effect here. It's like, well, we just had our championship. We're not fitter. Like.
The races are too destructive in Hyrox.
Yeah, it's like a half marathon. It'd be like,
especially in the Olympics, where you're going to try to sit and run 80% of your pace for 80% of the race and then kick home. Yeah. But you're right. I've always thought it'd be so hard to get over that post-championship lull and go chase fast times and fly and race. But if you did well at the Olympics, you have your appearance fees that you get to like cash in on.
Yeah.
That's another thing with like some of these athletes who are running potentially have podium bonuses. It's like, hey, I'm here, I'm in decent shape, whatever. But yeah, I think it's too destructive. It's not like Faith Kipyegon, who was 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks, 1500, then 5K.
Shit is just dumb, dude.
Yeah.
I remember when that record was like 30 seconds slower, and I was like, this is amazing.
Like 14:30, and now it's 14:05.
It's crazy.
It's gonna be sub 14 soon. That's crazy. Oh, yeah. And the best part of that race, you had the former record holder who now has the 3rd fastest time ever, basically in a last 100-meter kick.
Right there.
Like fantastic finish. That was such a good race.
What was her last fastest time ever, right? She ran the 3rd fastest ever in that race.
Yeah, now she's the 2nd fastest because her previous Gidey's old record got broken. But yeah, Faith went 60.4 for her last 400.
Not under 60.
Could she break 60?
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, she like it to me.
She had 13 minutes of running beforehand though, so
doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
On the dudes, so we had Peleo Menendez. He won the race outright in the second heat. Like, this is another thing. How could they do this? How could they have this heat situation screwed up? Like, Mark Howe.
It was perfectly divided.
It was like exactly divided. Yeah, it really was. So like,
it's how you would divide up a prelim.
There's
knowing they'll meet in the finals.
Yeah, like Paleo was in the first heat. He and Eric Williams was
third.
He got second overall and was in the first heat. Then Jared was in the second heat, and then Nick was in the first heat, and then Mark was in the second heat. I don't know where Adam DeFulio was in, but Keith was in the first heat. Yeah, it was almost exactly split.
They snake seated.
Someone was drafting. Someone definitely drafted for this. But Paleo's a really strong runner. When I raced him,
he runs like you.
He does. And that's why I saw him and I was like, oh man, this guy is fucking legit.
Whole running,
reminds me of me.
High cadence.
He does. He's like bouncier. In, I believe this was Houston, he had a really hard pull where I think it was like 7.5 minutes or something like that. Basically buried him. He worked on that, ended up with a 4:21 pull, which is serviceable and was enough. And he was wire to wire against Jared and Mark.
Yeah. Jared really slow played the race. Now, Magida said in the comment, Jared has a broken back. I don't know what that refers to or how like
unlikely.
I don't know what it meant, but I would believe he had an injury because he didn't get out at all.
Magida's on the bad back crew out there represent. Jared did run an extra lap.
When?
After burpee broad jumps.
Okay. But he did close into it. But he did not ski like I thought he would ski.
No, he was pretty conservative. And the wall ball seemed to hit him pretty hard too. So he finished that break your back. That's I think he had that Magida level of wall balls. Or Magida's wall balls actually weren't that bad at the end of Worlds.
His heart rate was at 90.
He was just chilling, man. So Jared ended up running 64.33 extra lap. Give him like
That's
63 flat, maybe. So he probably ends up
5.5 laps.
That's crazy. He did it the next day. The next day, Jared ran GoRuck, obviously, because he's the best in the freaking world. Ran 68 minutes there and
68 GoRuck.
68 GoRuck, and also ran an extra lap that day too.
Sanity. They just need compromised lap counting workouts.
I know there just needs to be some sort of counter situation, like in gym class where you had the flip the thing. There's reads different. They gotta make sure they're where.
I'd have them blindfolded, spin them in a circle, call out a number. Yeah. We're doing funky training, astronaut training for these people.
So he was 68 minutes with GoRuck, but the GoRuck division is open weight.
Thank God.
Yeah,
that's faster than my PR.
right. And then our guy Nick Riker finished second in the race in his heat and was 65.02. Came in, wanted to break 68 because that was my debut. So he came out and did really well.
Crushed you.
It took some motivational talk from you and Dylan to get him there.
His tummy held up. Yep. He did just fine.
He ran it well.
Yeah.
He cracked a little on wall balls, which you should on your first one.
Totally.
But he took everything he had heard. He's the kind of guy you would think he'd be like, nah, sleds aren't going to be that bad. Nah, you guys are all right. Like, you would think he'd just show up and do it, but he clearly took it seriously. He paced it seriously.
Nick Riker pacing
the event. Yeah, he respected the event.
That's a great way to put it, respecting the event. And it's taken him long enough to do one of these because of that respect. I think he did doubles before and was like, I don't think this is something I could do by myself. And clearly he
got Crocker and Callied. It takes a while to come back from that.
That's true.
It's like me with a Wallace. You're not going to see me this decade.
No, you're out of here.
This decade. No.
At least this calendar year.
Because I don't know if Riker has done one since that confrontation that you guys had that just ended in violence.
Yeah. Yeah, we chose violence early and often.
Big time. But after 65.02, that's solid. That's the Riker line. There it is.
65.02.
65.02. Our guy Eric Williams, who won that first heat, was under the Riker line, 64.24. He trains with Magida down at Elevate in the DMV area.
Boy, does he look the part.
Yeah, man.
His compromised running is legit.
His regular
makes
running
sense if you train with Magida.
When he came into that first or second station, I was like, oh man, this guy's legit. This guy can run. So
I thought he was going to blow up. He looked so tired during the burpee broad jumps because he was jumping like 9 feet per jump. And then he would bend over and gasp, and that's the end. And then he got right back to running. Thought, okay, yep. Well done, Dave. Good job, Eric. You're ready for this.
He was totally ready. He Magida mentioned this on in the live stream as well, that Eric would have been the first African American winner of a Hyrox, which I think is notable as well. Ultimately didn't end up being that because Paleo came out of the slow heat, beat him by 30 seconds or so. But that's an interesting little wrinkle that I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah. I mean, Anas lives in America, but
he hasn't won.
I also don't know what his heritage is, if he's African American.
I thought
Morocco.
Oh, that's literally Africa.
The implication of African American is descendant of slaves.
Yeah, semantics, but yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think it's more than semantics. I think that's a pretty powerful connotation.
Yeah, okay.
So I just didn't want to lump anyone in where they...
I meant the verbiage was semantics.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't think Anas
put slavery as semantics.
No.
I just want to be very clear.
That's why I'm clarifying. That is not the case.
We're veering off into territory that.
No.
Let's talk about Hyrox instead. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, overall solid showing from the East Coast contingent. But like an example, Mark Howe. I know it was a long week for him, and he also did some travel as well. He was like 66, where he was 61 in Anaheim. So 61 high, I think. So like this course, it wasn't it.
So does that make Riker like a 62?
No.
63, yeah.
Nope.
I think so.
Doesn't qualify
for
him.
I would never tell him.
Everyone else had the 2 to 3 adjustment, but he's a 65.02.
I don't think the course was 2 to 3 minutes slower. Like I think that there's just like that seems aggressive. I don't know. I didn't really look at. Look,
I'll give him in the 64s.
Any course that I didn't run,
it's not RUP certified.
Yeah, like if I would have ran New York, that course is slow, but I didn't. So that course is and they didn't run faster than me. So therefore, that course seems accurate.
Yeah, they probably use Spanish equipment also. So
the Hunter line is anything you didn't run.
Yeah,
that's how I. I wasn't there. This course seemed fair.
If you've been paying attention to the podcast the past year, that's pretty much what Rich
watching
does.
Eric. I thought I'm watching a 60-minute guy.
Yeah, I think.
What's his background?
I don't know his background, but just like the way his stride was, the way he was able to put out, and he actually was kind of aggressive. His sleds were aggressive on the push. His burpee broad jumps were aggressive. He ran really well. I think despite some peaks in his race, he looked the part of a guy who is going to be a 60-minute guy. I won't be shocked if he runs low 60 by the end of the year.
I think you even mentioned this on the stream, BK, is that like this guy's been suffering for a long time, and his back stations showed like his row is 416, his farmers is 145, his lunges were 345. Like these are serviceable, but like those, if you're going to be a 60-minute guy,
10% faster,
probably.
Yeah. In the fact that he kept running himself, I don't know what his run times were, but he didn't degrade visually.
No,
if you looked at that guy and said, what's going to suffer back end, you would have guessed running. He's so put together, but he was like a Magida. He ran like Magida in that race. And to me, that speaks to ceiling. Yeah. If he's crumbling and still running well, that's aptitude for this. And that, like you said, like he suffered for so long, the ability to sit in that and still work hard in was this first one or second one ever?
I don't know.
Second. Anyway, new to it, sitting in that suffer, running well. Those are the attributes of someone who's set up to be very good at Hyrox.
It's very
I don't know if he's a
Marcus
Wallace.
Yeah.
But
right.
Yeah, it's easy to want to tap out at that point once the suffering begins. So hanging in there, that shows a lot of potential.
Yeah.
This was his third.
And he got caught on the lunges.
No, this was a second. He was a 69 and then 64. So he's showing improvement as well.
Good improvement.
Yeah.
But if you're starting to really suffer on the burpees and then you get caught by newbie on the lunges and then he outran him after that, again, like can't teach that.
Riker caught him. Yeah.
Oh, was it Riker? Yeah, Riker.
Yeah, Jared was in the Paleo. Okay.
Who also he caught Paleo.
Started
to catch Paleo on the lunges.
In the lunges?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't ever get him, but
Paleo fought. He really, from the front.
Did he earn some respect from you?
He had my respect because he runs so awesome. So
very specific things that you'll respect.
Yeah, of course.
Toe strikers.
Can Paleo break 60?
Potentially. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's fast, and his output seems to be pretty solid on the machines. Even like his row was 350, so pretty good. His wall balls fell apart a little bit. His lunges weren't that strong, and his farmers was like mid pack. So yeah, I mean, he has a lot of the pieces already, and he's rapidly improving. The sled pulling should probably still get even better, but it's already gotten that much better. So yeah,
a while back when Hyrox first was starting up and Hunter was smoking everyone, we asked him, what are the acceptable good lifting metrics to hit as a runner to consider yourself strong enough to participate and like compete in this kind of thing? I'm going to ask you the same thing about station work. Because you said he had a mid-tier carry or he had a serviceable. What would you consider like that line between serviceable and good for the stations?
We're including transition time
on each. I don't have like a total number.
No, just individually
through each of them.
Yeah, I think people would take something from hearing that from you.
Yeah, I think ski erg is like under 355. That ski erg is the ski erg I don't pay too much attention to because you can rip a ski erg because it's the first freaking station. So
what you have to be able to do without it costing you. And then move on from there.
Like 355 with the transition.
So on display, you're probably like 345 or faster.
Yes.
You're averaging like 147 to 150 or so.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot. That's how we'll talk about it from there. Yeah. Sled push, same kind of thing. But if you need to put out, if you can't put out and be under 330 or like continue to go, I think that's kind of the line, and that's going to be even on the slow end of things. 330, yeah. 4 flat
330 to 3, you think is that range?
Yeah. And we'll see guys who will be under, obviously, and they always would be. So it's probably going to be closer to 3 here soon, probably next year. Like if you're not doing a 3-minute push, you're probably going to be pretty far out of the race. Sled pull, I would say 4 minutes flat, and that's again same thing. It's probably going to be closer to 345 for next year.
Isn't that pretty much what like Kent and Hunter did though? That seems fast.
What, 4?
Yeah, I thought they were like 401, 402 for like their good splits.
No, under 3 for their good splits.
Then maybe it was 301, 3. Okay.
Yeah, like that. Like we rarely will see an under 3. Like in Spain, we saw like a 240 something, and it's like, but yeah. But
okay. I got my minute wrong.
In Chicago, when Kent beat Hunter, he was like 250.
Okay, something. So right around 3 minutes, not 4 minutes. Okay,
3 minutes is very fast.
Yeah.
Burpee broad jumps. I don't know. I'm back and forth on this. I think that, if you can be at, I think under 230. Under 230. Some of the Europeans are closer to 3.
Yeah.
But
250.
Yeah.
But they're coming off fast sled. Like they have to recover.
They kind of recover there. Yeah. But I think if you're going backwards there, I think 230 is
I think that just get off the ground, because that's one of those ones where like you can truly have your race fall apart because you're like, whoa, this is comfy. I'll just stay down an extra second. Like, don't do that. I
don't think it could be over 3. If it's over 3, I think you're just like waiting around a little bit too much. Row, I think under 4 at that point of the race.
You split under 4 with transition.
Yeah, then you're moving.
Farmers low 150s maybe at that point.
Yeah, 150.
Yeah.
Farmers.
It's gotten quick.
130, I was thinking. Yeah, if you're over 130, you have time. You have time there. You've either set it down or you're going too slow.
What's better?
Slowing down or going?
Is it better to go faster and set it down, or just like steady Eddie? What do you think in terms of, is it time under tension or jostling, which is worse for you?
Probably the jostling. I think if you're going hard and you're putting it down, I found that to be worse.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just from like a mental momentum part. If you feel like you have to put it down, I don't think that's great. That's where Riker was rolling with the thing, and he set it down and waited like a minute. Like, and he ended up with a 150, and I thought he was going to be closer to like 120.
He was closing. He was doing well on that.
Yeah, I think 130. Sandbag lunges. At the fast end, we're seeing people around 3. So 3:30. You can see people. I think it has to be under 4.
Viola's like 2:30, which is just so stupid.
Who was?
Not Viola. Sorry, Miriam.
Oh yeah. That's wild. And wall balls now for dudes, I think 4. I think you're gonna need to do that. Like if you're 450s, that's a struggle. 430s, I think you're gonna lose 30 seconds. I think 4 minutes is gonna have to be I think next year is gonna be faster. I think 3:45.
It's getting to the point now where there's enough good people that you're going to get gobbled up if you bleed time there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's easy to do that.
Yep,
very easy to do that.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent exercise.
Thanks for putting those out.
Great suggestion.
How about running?
BK.
Where do you think you have to be?
In what country?
U.S. Run plus rock zone, no matter where.
I don't know.
So 35.
Yeah, I was thinking 34, 33.
Because if it's like, say you have a 4-minute transition, you should probably be in 30 and change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Gives people things to target and compromise station work in their training.
It's by no means
be able to hit it
easy.
significantly faster, or be able to hit that pace under extreme duress in training.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So go on out there and get it.
When am I ready to go pro? These are some metrics to hit if you want to be competitive.
I think if the stations are no problem, you should go pro. Like people are scared because of if they're like, oh, I'm not good at running. It's like, well, the running's the same in the open.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can do the stations, go pro and just take that licking, and then
just go out slow
when you're running. Yeah, right. Just don't try to go out with the faster runners. Shall we move on?
Sure.
We had Spartan Colorado Springs. We talk about it all the time. It's a prestigious course. People love it. It wasn't hot. This year, Jack. You could have gone out there probably just with a bucket hat and a long sleeve, and probably like SPF 15.
Just 15.
He
I've never bought
15.
that stuff. Yeah,
he puts 15 on to sleep at night.
I've got. I'm wearing right now. There's like a little light coming from my my webcam.
It's been like the Pacific Northwest out here, though, dude. It's not.
Yesterday, how'd you get hit with the rain?
It rained.
Like 3 inches of rain in the afternoon. It was crazy. Flooding everywhere.
Grass is growing like crazy, Jack. You told me it couldn't be done. I said, watch.
You picked the right year.
So, rain dances. So
big grass guy.
Big grass guy now. I didn't know it was going to consume my identity the way that it has. It's probably good. It's probably good that it has done.
Are you going to
this.
be having battles with your neighbors? Like, hey, check it out. See my lawn? See how nicely trimmed it is?
Take his fence down soon so they can see.
That's for sure. So I think the story here, well, Jack, you mentioned in our group chat, there's a bunch of notable athletes that weren't there, and that's kind of telling. Yeah. Do you have that list off the top of your head?
I'll pull it up real quick, but go on about your point.
So I think the story here is our
one name, double B,
Balin Bean, Mr. Frail,
doing work.
People.
The frailest dude out there, according to one of our hosts. Not us, not Bracken, not me.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
I only complimented him.
Simply compliments from here.
Last week,
Jack is a hater.
Total hater. Yeah, I did a list of names to watch for the future, and he was one of the handful of Americans that I did. And then he does this past weekend, takes down Guy.
When did you make that
Reed.
list?
Yeah, right.
Over a week ago.
Okay, I think, Balin, if you're listening, I knew you at the start line of the 3K, and I picked you out in those Under Armour compression shorts when the rest of the country didn't know what they were getting.
I pointed him out in the draft episode.
You couldn't have picked him out of a lineup. I
could have.
He said he was slighter in stature in a very in a degrading way.
You said, I've heard of this frail dude. I'm like, no.
I've heard of him.
This man is going to be a problem.
I'm like, this guy has won 2 races already.
Because he busted someone's ass.
21.
Because he busted Matt Rock's ass, and that's not an easy out.
No.
Matt Rock
in Montana also, where Matt's from. So, yep.
So Balin Bean won the beast. He in 2 hours beat Josh Reed, who finished 2:05, killed him.
Josh is nastier every time we see him too.
Mark Gaudet just ran a 2:36 marathon at altitude. Jacob Klinker's got 20 podiums. Matt Taverner,
got my scalp.
Yeah, I trained with Matt Taverner. He lives like 5 minutes away from me, and he's got 11th at Tahoe World Championships before. DJ Fox just won World Stuff as much. So Balaam Bean gave everyone the business.
This race is 21 and a half hours too short for DJ. A top 10 finish though for DJ, and like he's really worked his way up through.
He's improved as a runner
a lot, but he still needed 20 more hours.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, beating, and this wasn't an A race for Josh by any means. I know he had his sights set on running the incline and trying to get a PR there. I don't know how that went for him. And Mark, same thing. Mark hasn't really been doing OCR stuff. But beating Mark Audet by 7 minutes.
Mark fell on the bucket carry or sandbag carry. He said he took a really nasty fall.
How long did it take to get up?
He said it affected him the rest of the race.
Yeah. Was there rattlesnakes in where he fell?
I saw a rattlesnake on the bucket carry last year for Carson. That sucked. But anyway.
But Balin came out, gave him that work.
Yeah. Joshua Reed and Mark Audet are people that at a national series or world championship, if they show up, you're like, all right, here's two people I have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are people that anyone in the sport will recognize them on their radar.
Josh has been top 5. He was top 5 at Tahoe the year it was split. I think he was 4th where he dislocated his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
just doing single arm laches on the monkey bars. Not recommended. Now we know. But still finished that race, popped that shoulder back in, crushed the descent, did more burpees. So that's an epic, and finished 4th, I think. And Mark Audet's been top 5 in
many national series level races,
and was a world champion at the 24-hour distance for Spartan. So
made Ryan Atkins say, "Oh my God, that," when he blew past him in San Jose on the live stream.
You said that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Listen, I've watched it.
I take your word for it.
San Jose.
Go watch the live stream. No, slow. Not San Jose.
I see.
San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
Yes. Mark took that. Mark had the lead in that race for sure. Yeah. Matt Taverner is no joke. Jacob Klinker is no joke. Often drafted when he's come into races. And DJ Fox, world champion. So
I've got Josh Reedinger. So his record on the incline, 22:59. He went 23:18. So almost got it the other day. But if you're in 23:18 shape and you lose by 5, almost 6 minutes in a very similar rate, like Balin's fit.
Can you pull up what I am on there?
I don't have the paid version.
Of course.
I'm going to guess 23:30. Why don't you pull it up? You've got your phone and your access.
That's not what I bring to the table. Anyway, point being, when I did that, I was national series podium fit. And Balin took it to Joshua, who is faster than I did.
Yeah.
What do they call that? Like your team beats the team who beat someone else's team.
Is that the transitive property?
Transference or something like that. So yeah. So by that metric, Bracken gives Balin respect.
Yeah.
He's got it. He had it. I'm no Jack Bauer.
Jack didn't give it to him.
I couldn't have.
He judged a book by what he considered
by
to
the
be
page
a frail
count
cover.
And then I literally list him as a name to watch, and a week later he does this. I feel like I get a little bit of redemption.
You listed him as a name to watch after you watched him do good.
Yeah.
I beat him in Big Bear 3K, and I still listed him as a name to watch.
Now it comes out. That's your hunter line. I
undefeated against the guy. There you go. If you're gonna trash. Yeah.
This is like, what was it with Calypso? She got second at Battle Bunker. You're like, I picked her as my athlete to watch in hybrid. It's like no one was doing that. No one was picking that thing.
I didn't say as my. I said as.
You said my.
You know who I think is going to be good at DECA this year? Meg Jacoby.
That's a good call. I don't know.
Good call. Yeah.
I think she's going to be good at the full fit.
Hey, you want to know who I did?
Full fit.
You want to know another person I picked on that list as a name to watch? The guy who ended up winning OCR European 12K, Stein the Grand. So I picked him a week ahead of time.
Where'd you find those results?
I don't know. I'm too busy getting yelled at, so I'm not going to help you out.
We're not yelling. We're just making fun of you.
Yeah. Right. Come on, you got to get some Philly skin.
Come on, dude. Yeah. So on the women's side here,
Rich is good at pulling up results. Look at it right here.
The homie Callie Schweikart took it down. Mm-hmm. She didn't finish last.
Top 50%.
So she won, which is great. Only 2 women in this beast distance.
Pull up the super though. click.
She would have
There was more.
been
There was more in
16th
Super.
man.
Yeah.
There was more in
if
the
you pull
Super.
up the Super though, there was a noticeable increase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cali
7
trifecta,
finishers.
just so we're clear.
Did she do the sprint too?
1-2-2, if I remember correctly.
They didn't do they don't do elite for the sprint.
It was open only.
Do we know what happened to Rose?
Nah.
She posted something like, "Oh, I'm smarter now that I'm older. Like I just did a hard tempo effort for 15 minutes or something like that."
That's what I thought in Spartan 2, and I come up to Olympus and I'm like, I'm smarter now. I'm not doing this one.
Yeah.
Tempo.
Yep.
I'm gonna tempo this loop and be out.
That was a tempo.
Yeah.
So Balin Bean also won the Super, beat Mark by like 3.5 minutes.
Bryce Wolmer, you remember him from OCR Stars, and he has a number of podiums in the Michigan area.
Oh,
now I gave Rich crap for using an official half marathon to get his long run in, his easy long run this weekend.
I paid for that shit.
That's what I said. You paid for it, but there's no more expensive tempo run than a Spartan race.
Not even a tempo. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because
15-minute tempo for $3,842.
If she's getting free entries too, I mean,
she's above the rest of us.
She's definitely above the rest. I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
So, did you pick up the name? But
I have.
Notably, there's no prize money, right? Which I think does deter people. And if you're paying for entry fee, and there's no real route for long course traditional OCR in the Spartan realm to have a championship. Why would you do this race? Well,
let me tell you, I'm looking at one Balin Bean who is traveling.
Yeah.
Not the easiest section of the country to travel from. And it tells me he's going towards building up as much reps on course as he can. And he's going after something this fall big. I don't know if it's Tough Mudder. I don't know if it's 3K championship, but he's traveling and putting in reps right now for a reason.
Bracken, I can actually answer that. So if you Google him, he is actually on some local running team. He said he's doing 5 Spartan races this year. He's already done 3 of them. So, and they're not major ones. Big Bear was the only big one that he had on his list. He's doing some like trail marathon or ultra. That's what his I
was wrong.
Is. Yeah.
You think there's a North American, NORAM or Pan Am?
He doesn't have Mexico listed. I think he has Seattle listed. So it might be a Nick Mask showdown over there.
Oh, that's going to be a banger.
Wow. Some like real ass runners going against each other. And
you don't want Mask in Washington.
No one.
Fastest beast of all time, right, Jack?
Correct.
I mean, he's a sub 60 guy.
Yeah, I mean,
we all agree. This is the only person we all agreed on.
He's definitely going under 60. Well, Brad, I
think Lars sub 60
potentially. BK, I think we could agree that you could go under. But
how is it that we agree on 2 people, not Atkins, not anyone else? It's Mask and me. Come on, you're selling people short.
No, you guys
are
right
here. I
inflating.
So Balin Bean, he's on Team Momentous, whatever that is. And it says upcoming races and past races. So he already did the Yakima Canyon Marathon, Montana, Big Bear, and Colorado Springs Spartan. His next one is Utah Spartan in July. And then September, he's doing the Seattle Spartan. And then his last race is the Leavenworth Marathon. So that's what he's doing.
But that was he probably submitted that in December, right? January.
These are Jack facts that he'll be spitting out later.
I'm just reading off of his
saying,
team's website.
He'll be like, you can draft them. I talked to him.
You start getting success and you start thinking, what about championships?
Well, what is the championship?
I know that's what's tough about
3K is not going to work for him with the format. If like a dry. Remember when Lars made his debut at Tahoe a couple years, like on a course like that, Balin would have been licking his chops, getting a chance at doing that and just showing everybody he's the real deal. But I don't think 3K is going to happen this year.
Yeah.
And past him, he's not as frail as you think.
It's not the reason why I'm saying he's mountain running to do it. Yeah. Well, but Rich, you had a point on bringing up for Carson.
Isn't he mountain running? Colorado Springs is not mountain
running. There was
running.
2,700 feet of change in the beast.
I've done that in a 5K. That's not true.
Impossible.
Vertical K.
I've done it in a mile. The
Vertical
incline
K is
almost.
you got 3,000 feet.
Yeah, that's more than 2,700.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be in a 5K, does it?
No, the VK is just it's
over
more
the course of-
advantageous to do it
It's whatever
steeper,
it takes
so
to
you
get
have-
there.
Yeah.
But they generally aren't very long. Generally around a 5K.
Is it Broken Arrow this weekend?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, really? We got some people in our sport doing it, right?
I mean,
a lot of them.
It seems to split down the middle. OCR people went straight trail, others went hybrid, and the rest is Balin Bean. Now Balin Bean's that guy in OCR.
Balin wanted everybody, but yeah. But you were mentioning this because of like the names who weren't there. Like it is kind of surprising, like with the amount of talent in Colorado specifically, like who didn't show up. You didn't see VJ. I know Tyler's running that, but like Johnny wasn't there. Kent, Mendoza, I'm injured. Like that didn't happen. Women's side, you had like Nicole, Annie, Chris. Chris chose Hyrox instead. Annie and Nicole did the Vail games. Rose showed up. I guess
How did the Vail games go?
I don't know. I think Nicole got third or second in some 10K, and she did really well on some descents. I saw some story from her, so I think she's back running good.
We didn't talk about this yet, but the map for Palmerton came out, right?
Yeah.
Weeks ahead. I hope they do the old switcheroo.
Anybody complains.
Well, I think it's like that they just gave in to it that easy.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, here's the map now, because I guess we were wrong when they've never done that in the past.
It went out to athletes who are signed up for it. And then Matt posted it. So they didn't release it to the public per se, but there was a whole email with it to let them know, here's what we're thinking. But yeah, it was kind of giving in. And it was also kind of like, we want you to know what we're thinking, which is very, I think, good for Spartan.
Hempson complimented them. That's how you know they did something well. Yeah.
What did he say? I didn't see it.
He's basically like props for listening to the athletes and getting stuff to us ahead of time when that's what we wanted all along. So it's very surprising. He doesn't do that. So I'm sure that the HQ must have been like, whoa, who hacked his account?
90 pounds is still a lot.
No, if they're going to give, I don't know, if they're going to give the map and all these hints ahead of time and stuff and allow people to just like literally simulate it, keep the weights the same. You still have a month to get stronger for this and the rest of the season.
They gave in on both accounts.
Yeah, not on everything. You need to equalize it.
Equalize
90's
what?
not heavy. Comparatively, that's easy to lift for a double sand. At least make the sandbag longer if you're going to do that, but no one's dropping it anymore.
You know what? I'm going to maybe be unpopular here. I think it's the right call. A 3K race should not be dominated by one obstacle. As much as it was cool and nostalgic to see, if a race had come out and this had never existed prior, if Spartan didn't have double sandbags of old that are lore at this point, legend, and they did this, we would be like, what is this testing? It's supposed to be a fast, dynamic race, and we're just sitting here, best case scenario, walking, holding something. This doesn't help us. This isn't palatable for the viewers. So even though I agree with all the nostalgia and the grittiness and it exposed people, 120-pound double carry in the middle of a 3K race is kind of dumb. As much as I like it, I also think it's kind of dumb. So I'm good with this. This will keep things fast.
It took like a minute 15, a minute 20 or so to complete. So you're looking at what? An eighth of the race. Would you say typically in Spartan races, bucket plus sandbag is taking about an eighth of the total time? I feel like that's representative.
Yeah, but then there also was a bucket right after.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Again, I'm not disagreeing with, because I agree with that. I think it was awesome. It was fun for me. Yeah. But for a sport, I think it's dumb.
Yeah, not every course needs to be the same either. So I'm fine with them if I don't remember the course map specifically for Palmerton, but if they don't have a bucket and they put back in the rig or something, like now you've got the best of both worlds. Like that's a good variation.
What did the map look like? I didn't really look at it either.
There was a long barbed wire.
I'll do something today.
Pull it on up.
Yeah.
Where
he's on his phone.
Where can I pull it?
Probably on Inside OCR on. That's where I usually get maps from.
Just got a message from Kirk.
What is that?
Purchase summary. Kirk DeWint, 5,000 meters on the track. Signed up for one of those Twilight 5Ks.
He's gonna. Oh man, does he have some spikes?
Goal. They have to list a goal time.
What do you put?
14:59.
Oh, I was gonna say 15:10.
This is 15 flat, but he's like, nah, son.
Got to get in that fast heat.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We have. So from where it's looking like, if I have to guess where this is, we are starting uphill. You're going. This is over where the bucket usually is.
That's where you're starting?
Starting one lane to the right of that. If I had to guess where this is. You run uphill, it's going to be about 100 meters. Then you're going to hit Irish table, double sandbag, which is going to be more side to side than it will be vertical. Then Z-wall, downhill to the bottom, rope climb, across to where you would normally pick up the bucket, do monkey bars, run uphill, do barbed wire crawl uphill, run to the top again, laser or multi-rig laser pistol, run across to inverted wall, and run down to the finish. So it's looking like one carry. So count this out for me. Irish table, double sandbag, Z-wall, rope climb, monkey bar, barbed wire, multi-rig laser pistol, inverted wall. That's it.
9
obstacles. One is a carry.
215 feet of elevation gain, they said.
Now, it's subject to change.
Yeah.
But they're using the far section. It looks like it tops out right before the pond. So you're running that far left side of the mountain.
Interesting. Nice.
Which is not crazy steep, if I remember correctly. It's partially steep in that carry area.
Yeah, it takes a while to get to the super steep stuff.
Steep enough, but it's going to be runnable. And the carry seems to be horizontal.
Interesting.
So you're not doing a Palmerton trudge with a carry unless they change things. And it doesn't show a bucket.
Big Bear was not steep, but that sucked for the carry. So I don't think you need steep.
No, you don't. But when you think, we talk about nostalgia, when you think Palmerton, you think about it. You're going to be burning up a hill.
Double black diamond, yeah.
And having been at a lot of the National Series races, like doing camera work and stuff, what I've noticed on a lot of the carries, they're not always on the steepest part, but they'll find a way to like make you go through the bog section along the path.
I think that's it.
They'll just like make it treacherous footing, and that makes it more difficult for stabilization and stuff. And they'll probably find a way to do that here.
Yeah.
What footwear do you wear, BK, on a side-to-side carry at Palmerton? Grass, wet, probably.
You're a Spartan Sprinter Super Shoe, I think. It's not super steep, so I don't think you're gonna have to worry about having something under. You want grip, and doesn't look like we're getting wet. I didn't see rolling mud or dunk wall.
Yeah, that's up a little bit further. Going to RC Elites?
I'm gonna back them.
Really?
I'll bring the Evo Jaws. I'll bring the Pulsar SGs, and maybe for nostalgia's sake, I'm gonna bring some all-terrains. I may do a full wardrobe change in between every lap, assuming I make the final.
I think that's smart.
A good idea.
I got to give these bad guys a try here soon.
I like that.
Zenal 2s.
Did you weigh them?
I did not. I have a scale. I could. And I got those Mach X's too. Give those a
How do you like those?
And they're interesting. They're not really what I was expecting. They seem more like a trainer than like.
Are they like the endorphin speed?
I never wore those. Maybe
like the mid ground between a racer and a daily plotter.
Yeah. I think they'll be good for regular, just like distance runs. I don't understand like why I need to plate though. Maybe just a little bit of rigidity. I don't know. Separate it from like the Rebel.
Yeah, I've been looking at plates a lot lately and think I just don't think plates are necessary for most shoes.
Right.
I'd rather have a hardened foam rocker than a plate in most situations.
Keep the price down a little bit.
And the weight. It's unnecessary weight.
Yeah. Which is what Jack's been waiting for. We have 10 minutes to talk about it. Whole lot of OCR happened in Europe this week. They did all the races on the exact same day. They're like, hey, let's just knock it out. We don't really want people to talk about it for that much. So we're like, great. We just won't. They had the European OCR Championship, which is OCR World World Championship of Europe, correct? And
essentially,
and they also had the Spartan European Championship as well.
It's tricky when the brand name is OCR Worlds.
I don't know how to
OCR World Championships.
How do you refer to it?
OCR Worlds European Championship.
Just OCRWC. That way you don't say the word worlds. It's just
OCRWC Euro.
Yeah. It's World Obstacle, technically, I think, in Hungary. That was where the race was held. And then Andorra was where the Spartan Race Championship was.
And was that a beast? It was a beast.
It was a beast. Slow beast. It was like 2 hours, 50 minutes or so for the men and 3:20 for the women.
You guys ever been to Andorra or seen the race video or anything?
Oh, that is probably the venue. And I was told this by Cole. I was told this by Johnny, that if there's any race to get over there, it would be Andorra or Morzine. That those are like the two most just breathtaking venues out there.
You drive into Andorra and things are just vertical. It's not Tahoe where you build up into it. It's like the town is cut out of the mountain. It's just like you are.
How high do the mountains go there?
I don't know, but there's stuff there that you couldn't, right from the ground, that you couldn't get up.
The prominence is crazy, right?
Yeah, crazy amount of vert. It's steep.
Yeah.
So 250, I believe it.
Yeah. So you've got the results pulled up there, Rich.
Sure do.
One thing that I was gonna say, does anything look weird to you?
I mean, they got some first names out here.
Rihanna Nelson doesn't seem super European.
Well, from Spain.
Petra and Agata are not.
Well, no. Just anything. Yeah.
I mean, all the names look interesting to me because I live in
look at Is that where first time in 49 career races she has not made the podium.
Really?
Wasn't close.
Ever. Yeah.
I mean, she's 44.
I know that, and she dealt with some real health issues in the past year or so, and she just probably isn't as committed anymore now that she's in her 40s. She has a kid who's 4 or 5 years old at this point, so I'm sure that the torch has been passed to Esther already. Like, we kind of saw that last year, but this is definitely proof it is over and done.
Esther shuffled her way to a dominating win.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being 44 years old before you miss a podium?
Right. Yeah.
48 straight races, and she's won European Championship, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. She's won 2 World Championships, trifecta World Championships a couple times, all the National Series races over there, never missing one.
And look at Yanka going from a 1K and a 3K to a 3 hour and 34-minute race.
And 8 minutes behind last year's second place finisher at World Championships.
What do you know about Rhiannon?
She is she's done 6 races and never missed, or 6 or 5, and she's never missed the Spartan podium. Newer, she's a really good runner. So that probably helped on a course like this, but she doesn't have a whole lot of OCR history. Yeah, right. So she's 31 years old. So she's
31. It's a spring chicken in OCR
time.
sense.
Yeah.
Jack, this is totally making up for the Balin Bean debacle fiasco. You were just right in your element, earning your keep here. I like it.
Europe, right here. Go to the men's side.
That first miss in 49, and then you got this 6 for 6 stats. This is good stuff.
Yeah,
nice
job.
This is what we're looking for. We don't even need last names right here. That's Gregory Basilico.
That's Richard Hynek. Hey, hold on.
Oh,
this is Gachet. See, I got it, dude.
There's one more. There's one more missing. Scroll down.
Alejandro picked up some people's last names. There's no one I'm just messing
with you, Rich. But yeah.
Well,
there's no one else. Oh, pronounce number 28.
I don't know. I've never seen a Z and a B in succession, so I don't really know even how to even start this thing. BK, you got something for this?
Yeah.
You just skip it? Ignu? I'm just skipping both.
Ignu Zlobar.
I'm just skipping all the things.
Zlobar.
So Luca Pescolderong beat Gregory Basilico.
Yep.
Is that a surprise?
Luca, I would have to look it up, but I thought that he has won a European Championship. He's at worst podiumed before. I think he was on the podium when John Albin last won it, but Luca is one of the best mountain runners, sky runners in Europe, period. He's done OCR many years. And Johnny's hanging out with him over in Europe right now. He's definitely been the real deal for a long time, and I think he got top 10 at Abu Dhabi the first year that it happened. So he's been, you know, one of the big players in Europe for a number of years.
But I was looking at Gregory Basilico like he was going to be that dude this year.
Yeah. Well, he has been. Like he's I think he's got a shoe sponsor.
What?
Like a big name one.
Well, see, that's the problem. I would never take a shoe sponsor in OCR and have to wear the shoes.
Yeah.
What if it's BK? What shoe wouldn't, if they make you wear something like
okay, Team Hoka?
Well, Hoka's, that's a different story.
It depends. Can you still get the Jaws now that you have the Zanal? Prior to the Zanal, they didn't have an OCR racer since the Jaws.
The Zinal too is supposed to be.
I think we have the toughest sport to pick a single sponsor for.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he went wrong.
But regardless,
people love Solomon, but
that's I'm sure that would work.
Gregory's been like focusing on trails pretty much exclusively, and same as the guy Thibault John in third place. That guy is so fast on the trails. He's done OCR for a number of years. Also, he's been, you know, not quite on that level, but at the top of the sport. But whenever there's like a real big mountain race, he just flies. There are a couple of videos of him and Jeremy Gachet, who got 5th place, and he's from France. He was 3rd in Abu Dhabi last year. But there are a couple of videos of the two of them just doing like some intervals, and Jeremy or Thibault, he looks as smooth as Jeremy and Gregory running. So he's got some real foot speed. And I think he was third. He was 3rd another year at Europeans as well on a really big mountain course.
I look at Basilico taking 2nd by a minute in Andorra and think this does mean he's him.
Yeah.
You put him on the furthest thing from a fast course that he'll ever see, and he is head and shoulders above everyone else except one guy. I mean, 7-minute gap is that's significant. That means that he was out of sight for the second half of the race.
This could have been
that's legit.
This could have been I don't know why I clicked into this. Like, this is going to fucking tell me anything. This could have been an obstacle issue as well. Like, he's missed obstacles in the past. So it could very well just been.
Luca uploaded a video just kind of showing, or like a highlight clip showing the race, and he overtook him at one point. He created a little bit of separation on one of the heavy carries. So I think that's when he broke away. And Luca's really good at downhills. Gregory's a little bit more not aggressive. He's still very good at it, but Luca's a better downhiller. Yeah.
Now let's go on to OCR World Championships of Europe. The OCR World Championship.
The European OCR Championship
of Europe.
Is that better or worse sounding than being the world champion of fitness?
That's a bad one.
Fitness is pretty good.
I beat fitness.
Fitness pizza in my mouth. Yeah.
Fitting something.
This Kajak Comedy Hour is the gift that keeps on giving.
Smashed.
So my brother Jim, my whole family came and visited maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and he was like, "Oh, I got to try all the pizza places and stuff," because he saw on some Food Network thing that there was some Guy Fieri thing where he came to some pizza restaurant. He's like, "I got to try it." I'm like, "It's not even the best one." So he ended up going to like 4 or 5 different pizza places here, and we're walking around old Colorado City. And my mom saw this shirt and it said, "I'm into fitness pizza in my mouth." So she got it for him. So that's why it's on my mind.
Came to Colorado for the pizza. That seems.
We've got good pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I had some
traveling to Colorado to run a race and finding out it's Fort Carson.
at the Speedway.
I didn't say it's the best, but we have good pizza.
I had some Rocky Mountain oysters for the first time this weekend.
And you paid to run a half marathon. Yeah.
Nice. How were they?
They're okay.
This tastes familiar.
This is basically what I was expecting. It tastes like it's like sausage if sausage was like Beyond Meat sausage. Like the texture is more like a meat substitute. Yeah.
It's a little.
It's like corn.
You can leave it. BK has something good, I bet.
He wants to say it so bad.
The OCR World. The OCR World. Now
I got
it's
kids,
over.
man.
Yeah. Now we can't be having this shit on the record.
Yeah.
OCR World Championships of Europe. We had the short course was Ida Steensgaard. And like the results again, I found these on their Instagram just to top.
I got a kid. Sounds like they got injured. Lisa's out for a run. I'll be right back.
All right, we'll do that.
And then second place was Arati Borlegi. Did I get that? And then Karen Leveras.
Yeah. She's done the OCR series that they have over there with Tough Viking. She's been pretty good at that. That's kind of one of the, you've probably seen everybody with like the yellow jerseys or the pennies at some point. That it's a really competitive, difficult rig based OCR
Europe style
series.
Stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So if you do well there, you're going to do well at this type of format.
Because these were short, man. On the men's side, it was Jesse Deher, Leon Kofod, and Jonas Drescher. They were like 15, 16 minutes.
And change.
Yeah, it was really short
for 3K. Like with hard obstacles,
shorter than a deca mile.
Yeah, just about right about even for some, but. If you're Kent, yeah.
If you're Kent.
Yeah. But I think if you thought it was confusing with Hyrox with like the releases, it was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes apart that they'd send everybody. And I know that they do that at OCR Worlds, but usually they'll be like, we're gonna get like the top 20 people in these first 2 or 3 heats. You had what's his name? Nikita Kryukov. He got 4th from Russia, and he started like 15 minutes after, and Leon was kind of in his own wave. No one who finished within a couple minutes of him was within his wave. Jonas and Jesse Deher, they were in the same heat, battling back and forth, and then at some point on one of the rigs or maybe a rope or something, that's when Jesse kind of made his move and broke and went for it, but Jonas went for the win for sure, and was hanging with arguably the favorite. But yeah, there were a lot of like later on people who snuck up, and a lot of confusion. You saw even like Sergey Preligin. I think that he finished like 30th and didn't even finish the 12K. So this was a tough course. And he's podiumed at OCR Worlds before multiple times. So like very, very grip intensive.
Do you have those 12K results?
I can look it up. But
where did you even find that? On the website, they didn't even have it.
Yeah, you have to like I said, they just took down the website basically. The old results, and then their timing page wasn't showing it.
And then even their Instagram doesn't have it.
Yeah. I think it was on Sport Hive. That was the website. So yeah, no, they've only got the 3K. I've seen them. I know that they showed them at one point, but because I sent Matt a screenshot of him, because I was like, hey, one of the guys that I picked for my names to watch, he ended up being, and he ended up winning, so I was pumped about that. Okay, yeah, for the men's, it's on Watchman timing. I have a screenshot of it, but I can't find it right now.
Okay.
But I can go through the results. So yeah, Stijn Legrand, he's 21 years old, from the Netherlands, just like Jesse Deher. Their relay team is unstoppable. So Netherlands, I know that we always think of like Denmark as the team that always wins, especially in the mixed divisions. Like no one's beaten the Netherlands if those two are on it. And so he ended up getting his first title. He had previously won some age group OCR Worlds titles before, and now that he's 21, he's like, I'm going to step up my game, enter with the elites, and paid off. He ended up beating Jesse Deher, who got second. So good weekend for Jesse, first and second.
Yeah, he got second. Wow, he got second in the 12.
Yeah, and then about a minute behind Stijn was Ivan Degtyarev from Russia. So not a lot more people than just Sergey and Igor Belisov, and like you've got a lot of talent there in Russia who people aren't familiar with. I think he was one of those guys in OCR Stars who ran, like there were like a few Russians who ran together. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was Sergey and some other guy whose scores were like,
yeah,
I think eventually disqualified because,
yep,
classic.
Questionable. Yep. But yeah, so he's I don't know if he won the European or the Russian OCR championship because they had like a national title. But in order to do that, you are taking down some big names in the sport. So third place here, that's pretty impressive.
BK, let me get you caught up. Jack just said a bunch of names of people I don't even know. So
this is what I said would happen. So I don't want to do a lecture, but I'm just giving facts so people know stuff.
We saved it for the D block.
Yeah.
So the Russians are good at endurance sports. That's what we came to the conclusion of.
Netherlands is better.
One way
That's
or another.
Yeah.
Netherlands, that spot.
Yeah.
Dirty Dutch.
Yep. And then on the women's side, Ulrika Evensen, she ended up finally getting her European title.
Nice.
In the past, she has either been in like 10 minutes ahead of second place, like at the end, or within podium position, like with a 10-minute lead over whoever's behind her in fourth, and it just didn't happen. So finally came together this race, and she took down everybody and ended up getting her title. So awesome job by Ulrika. I don't have it in front of me. Do you have the top three? I thought that it was Elisa Petrova and Ida for second and third, but I might be mistaken on that. But I know
these results do not exist.
Yeah, they are difficult to find.
I saw Ida in second, but I might be wrong on that.
It's not even on their freaking
Instagram.
Instagram.
I thought she got third.
Okay.
But you could be right. But anyway, I know that Denmark in the 3K, they got first with Ida, second with Leon, third for Jonas. So they got 1, 2, 3. So pretty good day at the office for them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what do you guys think about having two major championships that take away talent from each other on the same exact day?
I mean, there's precedent.
Yeah, industry standard.
Yeah, so I think that this is just fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need more champions. One of Kirk's things. More championships, more champions.
Yep.
So I think that's just rising. Everybody gets a championship.
They're emulating America. This is how it goes. It starts in Hollywood and it branches out over the world with style and music and whatnot, gun violence. And now they're emulating United States OCR. We're going to put competing companies on the same day.
This is a great idea. It's great. I mean, next year they'll just completely shift it from long course stuff, and they'll just be like, "Hey, all you guys who've been doing this for so long, find something else to do."
Yep. I'm most disappointed Hyrox didn't get the memo and didn't put Hyrox on the same weekend as well.
Yeah, it might as well have.
And then
we've still got time for next year.
The Spanish DECA,
yeah,
the UK
get
DECA.
It all done, and then we can move on.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
Here's what we don't want. We don't want eyes on the athletes. We want to divert. We want to, discombobulate. We want to
be everywhere at the same time.
We want it real hard to find results 4 days later also.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for that, they did great.
Here's the interesting part. Over here, it feels like the sport is not the healthiest it's ever been. You just listed off like 7 people who have world championship podiums who live in the state of Colorado who didn't attend the Colorado race. Something like that is probably exaggeration, but
no, it's probably at least 7. But...
And then over there, you have all these fresh new names and no one knows about it over here. Like they have the highest talent conglomeration that they've had, and they can't find a news outlet to pick it up. And they're putting them on the same weekend. And over here, it's like we can't get the top people to go out for races.
Yep.
Weird.
Well, cannibalizing.
Kind of wraps up our time today. What do we got next week? We got a Savage race.
There's a Savage this weekend.
That's what I meant. So is it Ohio?
Savage, Ohio. One of my favorite Savage venues that they go to.
Yeah.
You calling it?
I am not. I was on the list, but they let me off. We have family commitments this weekend.
Nice. That will be fun.
So I believe you have Fran and Miranda Kilpinski on the call.
Nice. Because it was the Miranda Huber, right? Was one.
Oh, maybe
she did
Miranda
previously.
Huber.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Huber.
There is a Miranda.
Yeah. It's not like every Ryan's the same. Not every Miranda's the same.
Yeah.
I would never want to lump every Miranda into one Miranda bucket. They have rights,
That's true.
Miranda rights.
The Bracken Comedy Hour.
Just crushing, man. Jack likes
Keep
that.
It going.
Loves that one.
Good
it just says Miranda. It doesn't tell me a last name.
I'm guessing Huber.
Probably Hubes.
What you got on the running public?
Cancellation.
Salmon.
Tough.
Salmon bailed on us.
The kid?
I think his brother was competing at nationals, and that was like a whole thing or whatever.
Yeah, prom.
You can't rely on the youth.
He's just he used up his internet time. I don't even
teenagers.
How do you even parent kids with the internet, BK? It's got to be Tough. Just
our kids aren't getting a thing.
It's the wild. He just take it from them.
Yep. Yeah. You can have a Kindle Fire, and that's it.
No internet. Not connected to the internet.
You get what do they use? Silk browser.
I don't know. You're talking about you're talking Jack's language now.
That is not my language. I have no idea what that is.
Something that's like,
he's not a nerd. He makes fun of nerds.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dang geeks.
Yeah. So the high school kid bailed on you. Training Tuesday.
We finished up our types of quality day series. So we started with speed work, or not finished up. We moved to threshold work.
Nice.
Which we got things to say about.
Just run the double threshold episode back.
Well, that's the thing. Like episode 65 was all about threshold. Episode 98 was the fundamentals of threshold. Episode 318 was double threshold. So we did less science and more why to do it, like why it's effective and how to implement it, types of workouts you can do, guidelines for following. It was a little bit more action based rather than learning based, other than the learning of why and how.
People need that.
So if they want to know the science, if you want to hear about hydrogen ions and what pyruvate and all these
about that
stupid organelles, go back to the old episodes.
Nice. I
We're not
it.
Nerds anymore. The funny thing is, we talked about a little bit on there, is that when we did our first one, we liked it. We liked threshold training, but it was still seen as an accompaniment to training. And we did our second one, people were starting to talk like the Ingebrigtsens. And now 2 years later, it's like a whole style of training.
Yeah.
Since the last episode that we did it, truly 98 till now, which is like 2 years later, it completely flip-flop roles. And now speed work is like an accompaniment to training, and you can train almost exclusively threshold. So it's kind of crazy to look in this little time vault and see how the industry changed, because I don't think it changes like that very often. And we hit one of those moments in time.
Just learning and growing.
Do you remember your episode numbers? You're like number 98, number 318. Like, do you remember this kind of stuff?
I remember every single one that I looked up yesterday before we recorded.
Oh, because I was gonna be like, quick, what's number 243? Like
243. That would have been Jack Bauer.
No. JB was on. I did an episode about moving from like Hyrox into shorter hybrid stuff. 27 minutes. In and
done
out.
And dusted.
Done and
that's all you need.
Dusted. That's all you need, dude. All right, so we'll figure out something to talk about next week. We'll talk about Savage. We'll talk about some stuff. Oh, we still need to put together this debate. That's on me.
Yep.
That's on me. All right. Anything else?
That's it. I got PT in a few minutes.
All right, go do that thing. See you, fellas.
Namaste.
Right. See ya.